One moment. Because I know how technology works in terms of biometrics, and because as I'm trying to sleep here at the airport because I was kicked out of my stay where I paid in advance, I have to go live again because my heart is racing at 100 beats a minute and it's not my reaction to anything. I'm always calm. Even in my anger, I can control my emotions. So right now, they still have the chip, allegedly, of one of 19 Key's family members on me. And so that is making my heart race at an unusual rate. One moment. I was sleeping very well prior to being terrorized through someone else's dream that they placed on me through the nodes. This is the weaponry that has been utilized out of Singapore, allegedly from the intel that I received in Puerto Rico. Not because I'm FBI, but because I'm a polymath who was attacked and had to find some sort of peace in the chaos. So I started doing an internal investigation that led to me looking for my family members, and I haven't been able to find them. I've spoken to 2 aunts, possibly, but it also possibly could have been AI. I've been telling people that I only want to speak to them via video phone, but when you're dealing with the older generation, a lot of times they don't know how to utilize the video phone. And so I'm up again. I haven't been able to lay back down since that terrorizing dream that showed a man named Will as the murderer of my sister in Mexico City. I don't know if it's true because in the simulation they showed me in Puerto Rico, she showed up in Puerto Rico and they said Utuado Mayor was trying to marry her so that I could not accuse him of murdering family members and having their bodies burned at the funeral home before anybody could identify them. There have been 2 funeral processions that took place in Puerto Rico, and as those funeral processions went by me, one moment, as those funeral processions went by me in Puerto Rico, they were telling me that they were different family members or loved ones. There have been people in my friend group like Kamala McCain, Tiffany Flake, Nina, I don't remember her last name because she wasn't a close friend, and other women. They were able to pull from the nodes in my body every woman I've ever associated with way back to elementary school. That's how you know I'm implanted. And what they've been doing is utilizing those names to terrorize me, or they have in fact infiltrated my friend group and called these people into some type of simulation game indicating that I was a member or a participant. None of these things are true. I never signed up for anything. I am not an officer of the law, nor am I FBI, CIA, NSA, any of those individual organizations. What you have here is a quest for domination by Aryan Nation and unsuspecting victims who get victimized, as well as people who once victimized don't know what to do and end up taking the money and participating. This is what I've discovered over the course of 2 years of terror, treason, and trauma that was not inflicted by me or from me, but was inflicted upon me because I refused to take the money and be a participant. So these are the things I have to bring up again, because as I'm trying to sleep, they have a chip on me that does not belong to me. I do not have alters, and that person's heartbeat is racing 100 miles a minute, disturbing my sleep pattern. That's why I have bags now. Earlier, I mentioned Tony as a relative to 19 Keys. They showed me a simulation in Puerto Rico that indicated that he was driving Lachia Rodriguez, my ex of 10 years, down the mountain that I lived on in Utuado, and at the bottom of the mountain, they said he shot her in the face. They said the police were there at the scene and he was released. In North Carolina, they said that Lachia was taken to Sinavia's family in Oxon Hill, Maryland, without proper doctor care. These are all the things that they've told me on my head that I had no idea of, but they've said it. So I'm saying it live so we can find out what the truth is, because I can't reach any of these people. And the two people I did reach, Alma Rodgers and my other aunt, Ernestine Lockley, are oblivious to what's going on because they're so old. They're way in their 80s. And if they've been done like me in terms of erasing your memory, they could possibly have forgotten, but I made it my duty not to forget. They said my cousin Chris was an initiator. They said my cousin Osmond Monroe was an initiator of this game. They also told me that 19 Keys associates a man by the name of Human, Hueman, and a man by the name of Akibalan were the makers of the game. All on my chip. And it's not my chip. I was implanted by the chip, allegedly, by Jesus, my landlord, Alida Felton, as well as Billy Carson, and one other person, Tony, and Tony's stepmother and lover. So these are the things they've shared with me, and I'm sharing it publicly now because this has gotten out of hand. This is the most terror I've ever faced in my life. I don't have a history of terror. They keep asking me, who touched you? Nobody touched me. I'm not a victim or a survivor of a molestation family. That's not me. So I'm sharing this for the record because I'm tired of being victimized for no reason. And as more information comes out, I will share further. This is Erica Clark Wise, the Renaissance, the one who was heavily plagiarized by 19 Keys family. In Hato Rey, Puerto Rico, allegedly 19 Keys' cousin Tony said that everything that he's pulled from my brain, he gave it in the written form to 19 Keys. And I can tell by his latest podcast representations that a lot of his ideals are congruent to mine, including the name of his latest tour called The Renaissance. My moniker. This is Erica Clark Wise, The Renaissance. Thank you for listening.